Hey there, guys. Welcome back to a brand new Flick Live show. This is it. Don't get scared now. And happy late Thanksgiving. I hope you guys ate a big piece of meat that people call a turkey, and it was delicious. And even if you didn't, well, happy Black Friday, where you can go buy stuff that you don't need and don't want to impress people that you don't like. And I just recently went and did that. I actually just got home from my Black Friday Flick Trip video, which I will edit and put out by tomorrow. It used to be easier to make these videos and put them out on Black Friday. That's when Black Friday started on Thursday, but now it starts on Friday. So there's just not enough time in the day to get it all done. So either way, I did pick up some movies. My best recommendation to you guys is let me double check and make sure everything is working right. Let's double check it. Hang on. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Does it sound okay? Is the audio okay, guys? If it's not, let me know. My recommendation to you is if you're going out to Black Friday this year, just go to Best Buy. There's no reason to go anywhere else, but I did for the sake of a mild form of entertainment to give you guys. I went to Walmart and Target, but yeah, like I said, I'm going to put that video together and put it out tomorrow, but I think you'll enjoy the new Black Friday Flick Trip video. I know I enjoyed making it. As sad as it was that Black Friday is slowly dying every year, I still enjoy going out amongst the unwashed masses nevertheless. And we are going to dive into your questions, and feel free to ask anything you guys want to. We can talk about whatever you want to for the next hour, and then I'm going to probably go eat some frozen pizza and watch Willow on Disney Plus. Doesn't that sound like an exciting Friday night? And real quick, quick mention to the sponsor of this live show, Ewan Racing. If you guys are looking for some Black Friday deals, you need like a desk, a gaming chair, a gaming desk with some LED lights on it, or some comfy gaming chairs. I've used their chairs over the last couple of years off and on, and I like them. So if you guys want to save 30% off at ewanracing.com, I'll put all the links down below. You get an extra 30% if you use my promo code Flickinger. The link is down below. So if you need a gaming chair to set in and feel good about who you are this Black Friday season or this Christmas season, save 30%. Just use that shit down below. The links are all down below, down there. So big thanks to them for sponsoring this live show. I recommend their stuff. And I was using their desk in my last version of my setup until I moved. And then I sort of ran out of room to use the desk anymore. So if you want a closer look at that desk, just go watch any videos I made like 2 months ago. It's all there. Okay, you guys are killing it in the super chats already. So let me just shut up about me and talk about your questions here. All right, here we go. We got one here from Big Tony Rockets. Thoughts on the Running Man? Here is Sub-Zero now. Plain Zero. The Running Man, I think, would be the perfect movie to remake if you want like a cool action movie. And it baffles my brain that they haven't remade it starring The Rock by this point. Think about this. It gives The Rock a reason to put on a tight yellow spandex suit like Arnold did in the original. You can go up against this rogue gallery of crazy villains. Like you said, one's name is Sub-Zero, who's like this heavyset dude who sings opera music. Was that Sub-Zero? Or was that the electric guy? That was the guy who shoots out electricity. What was his name? Shockmaster or some bullshit like that. Either way, I liked Running Man. It's a great cheesy 80s movie, but I think it would almost like you could remake that movie today and actually add a little something to it, and it could be a pretty badass action movie. I'm just putting it out there. And it could star The Rock. I think it could easily be the best Rock movie of the last decade. The White Skull says, when you first saw The Mummy Returns, what did you think about it? I remember actually seeing that movie in, what was that, 2000 and maybe one? Was it 2001? And thinking, wow, even in 7th grade, seeing it, I was like, this is not as good as the original. And speaking of The Rock, he's in that movie as well. And thinking, man, like, the CG in this movie just doesn't look as good as it should. Like, I remember seeing Jurassic Park as a kid thinking, wow, those dinosaurs look real. But The Rock looking like a giant scorpion for some reason just looks like a PS1 video game graphic. I was mildly entertained. I think it's almost a guilty pleasure movie at this point in my life, but the first one is by far the best one. The second one just feels like a sequel. All right, the next one comes from Beto Bequit. Did I say that right? I think I did. Or is it Beto? Beto or Beto? I'm going to call you Beto. Hey, John. Greetings from Brazil. Are you watching the World Cup? Great game against England. I don't watch soccer. I know nothing about soccer. I am a moron when it comes to soccer. I know there's a soccer ball. I know you kick it. I know you kick it into the goal. But other than that, I've never really found soccer all that enjoyable. I don't know. Call me crazy. But then again, when it comes to most sports, 99.9% of other sports, I find very little enjoyment in them. Like, I don't follow them. I don't keep up with them. Like, if I go to like a basketball game and it's really good and coming down to the last second, okay, I can find some enjoyment there. But do I really care outside of that? No, I do not. I think the only sports, technically speaking, I enjoy nowadays really is like maybe UFC, because there's some kind of weird primal urge inside of all of us to watch that. We want brutal violence between two humans. And I think that stems back thousands of years, even going to the gladiator days, like in the Roman Colosseum. We have this desire to see people fight each other. Now they don't actually, finish the fights with decapitations. That ends with a knockout or whatever. But yeah, usually that. But really, to keep it real with you, I watch a lot of professional wrestling. And I'm surprised more people don't who like movies, because it lends itself perfectly. It's theatricality. It's live action stunt work. It's like almost guilty pleasure storylines of like it's bad but in a good entertaining way. And I just like the athleticism and the showmanship. That's what I like. And I like the pyrotechnics and the lighting and the stages. Like it's a culmination of all these things. It's essentially Broadway with more testosterone and more baby oil. So that's what I'm watching nowadays. And I'm actually going to watch the new WWE pay-per-view tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to it. So to answer your question about sports, that's my version of sports. Watching people throw a football back and forth, getting paid $9 million a day, I don't, go team go. I don't care. You made a touchdown. Do I feel accredited as a person? Absolutely not. Okay, then the next one comes from James Doshier. Hey, John. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Well, thanks, man. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, too. I had a good Thanksgiving. No complaints. Went over to the lady friend's house. We all ate turkey, and then we watched a Christmas Story together, and I sort of fell asleep. And it was very pleasant. It's exactly what I needed. I needed little Ralphie to ease me into my subconsciousness, to take me to a happy place, as that turkey marinated in my belly. Yeah, it was a good time. And I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving too. The next one is going to come from somebody here. Let's see. Claudio Rogajon. How's it going, Claudio? 90s nostalgia has taken a hit recently. First Kevin Conroy, then Jason David Frank. Two childhood icons gone. Been a sad 2 weeks recently. Yeah, it's weird, man. It's the older you get, the more your childhood dies. It's the truth. It's weird. And we clamor onto that childhood nostalgia because it's that little piece of child that it's like we can't let go of it. Once you let go of that nostalgia, you become this drone. You become this mindless cyborg that just mows their lawn and pays their taxes and drives to work. So you got to hold on to that little childhood-like sensibility, because once it's gone, you're gone. The wonderment is gone. The exploration, the adventure, it's all gone. So that's why I hold on to it very closely. I think that's one of the main reasons I do YouTube, is it allows me to be creative and feel like a child at times. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, man, it's like you had the 80s stars passing away, then you have the 90s. There's some iconic actors where once they go, I'm just gonna feel empty inside. And I don't even want to put it out into the universe. Knock on wood right now. But they're just like some actors that if they go, like a piece of me will go. And I think the last one that really went away was Robin Williams. I remember when he passed away, I was like, shit, that hit me too hard in the feels, man. Like that's one of those actors that you grow up with. It's almost like an extended version of your own family. When you talk about Robin Williams in the early 90s, or at least in my family, it felt like you were talking about your uncle who lives out of town. You're like, oh, we're going to go see Hook. It's like we're going to go see Uncle Robin at the theater. Maybe that's how I interpreted it as a child. Maybe that wasn't healthy. But yes, to answer your question, The nostalgia is slowly fading away. We got to grasp onto it and hold on to it. Just like physical media. And don't get me started on physical media. If you want to hear me rant about that, watch the Black Friday Flick Trip video tomorrow. Okay, then the next one comes from Brevin's Flicks and Games. How's it going, Brevin? Hey, John. Hope you enjoyed Thanksgiving. For future video game adaptations, I hope for a badass God of War adaptation. What do you think? I think that could lend itself to a really cool, epic movie. The thing is, with video game adaptations, they're the most incompetently made adaptation of anything that you could ever do. Like novels, okay, it could be good. Adaptations from a stage play, okay, it could be good. But adaptations from video games, there's a 98.9% chance it's going to suck ass. And it usually does. There's only been maybe 2 or 3 video game movies that have been good. And maybe even one that's been great. The rest have been okay. I don't know what it is. There's always like this disconnect whenever it comes from the video game to the movie aspect. And it's almost like they intentionally make all the wrong decisions. And I'm like, is this on purpose? Like, are they trying to make this bad? Like, it almost feels like they really don't want the video game franchise movie to do well. But really, this franchise is to help accelerate the game aspect of it. Like, they want the game to keep selling and doing well and making sequels to that. But it's almost like an obligation when it comes to the movie. They're like, okay, how can we get a cash grab really quick, make a shit ton of money off the IP of the game, but no one's really going to like this movie, and we're not going to do anything else with it, but we'll make a few bucks in the meantime. We'll make it just forgettable enough, no one remembers it and asks for a sequel, but we can get a nice payday today, and this will enhance the IP with the next video game sequel. That's my weird theory on video game movies. And I've never really thought about that until now, but I feel like that's almost true. Let me know if you feel the same way. Or if you don't, that's okay. The next one, I'm trying to get through as many questions as I can today. Like I said, I have about an hour. So we're going to do this till about 8, maybe 8:10, maybe 8:15 if I'm feeling really frisky, or until this energy drink completely runs out. The next one comes from Carter Lovejoy. Thoughts on Spielberg's new film, The Fabelmans? I haven't seen it yet. I'm looking forward to it. It looks almost like a loosey-goosey retelling of his life in a way, like maybe a very loose adaptation of his life. And I dig that. I think that's a really interesting concept. And I love movies where a character makes movies within the movie. Oh, that's just such an interesting story or narrative for me. And that's exactly what this movie is. So I'm hoping it's good. The weird thing about Spielberg these days is like he's sort of hit or miss, and I don't know, something about the magic just isn't quite there anymore when it comes to Spielberg. But maybe he recaptures it with something like this. I'm looking forward to it. I think it comes out very soon. I think no, there was no screening of this movie. That's what sucked about this. So yeah, I'll see it when it eventually comes out. Is it out, or does it come out next week? I'm not even sure. I'll tell you what screening I'm trying to get into right now is Avatar: The Way of Water. Take me to Pandora and paint me blue. You want to connect ponytails under the tree of life? That's fine by me. The next one comes from Joseph Knowles. Black Friday now sucks. Used to be 50% off Blu-rays in New Zealand. Now it's only 20% off. Yeah, it's a bizarre phenomenon. Like I said, I went out tonight, and I went to a few places, and the only place I will say to go to is Best Buy. Just go to Best Buy or go to Amazon. Walmart, maybe it was just my Walmart, but I didn't even care enough to go to another location because that was enough for me. They didn't even have movies on sale. They didn't even have anything. Like last year and every year before that, you walk into Walmart amongst the unwashed masses, under the bright fluorescent light bulbs flickering, just giving you anxiety. And there were bins amongst bins of movies. This year, there were none. None. And I scoured the store. I asked 8 people, most of which didn't even know what I was talking about. They're like, what day is it? Black Friday? I don't know what that is. And yeah, so don't go to Walmart, or at least the one I went to really sucked for a Black Friday sale. The next one comes from Night King 01. Yo, Johnny Flickster. Just watched Dragged Across Concrete, Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson. Cops that try to rip off a bank robber. Thoughts it was good. I feel like I watched it. Or maybe I didn't. I feel like I watched that, but I just don't remember it. Like that was one of those movies I watched on like Amazon Prime at 3 o'clock in the morning. I I remember watching the Vince Vaughn movie Cell Block like '88, and then I don't know. I don't remember the movie. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't really remember the movie. But you guys want to hear something crazy that I did for the first time ever last night? I watched the movie Holes for the first time ever to completion last night. I have never watched all of the movie. Is that a weird thing? Something about it. I think when the movie came out, I was driving and I was like, oh, that's a Disney child's film. I'm not going to watch that. And I just went on with my life. And then last night I watched it and I was like, oh, that was a good movie. I enjoyed that. So anyway, I just thought you guys should all know that. Grandpa, I'm tired of digging holes. That's too damn bad. All right, let's keep going. Snowsberries says, just watch Point Break. Have you seen it? Great movie. I heard that they made one with Keanu Reeves. I have no desire to watch the Keanu Reeves one. That's the most insulting super chat anyone has ever said to me. I know you're joking, but deep down inside it truly hurt me to read that. Anyway, Point Break is by far one of the best action movies ever made. Go watch it now. All right, the next one comes from J-Man. Hey, John. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Are you a fan of found footage films? Typically not. Found footage films to me are the least watchable and rewatchable films ever made. Something about them is just like the aspect of a found footage film I think could be cool to watch on streaming at home, not in the cinemas. And it would have to be a damn good found footage movie for me to really want to see it. But 9 times out of 10, they're always sort of just like the cheapest way they can make a movie, make a few dollars, and capitalize on people who will see every single horror movie no matter what. That's how they come across to me. But let's continue the question. If you are, check out the Incantation on Netflix. Check out the Incantation. Okay. It came out this year of Taiwan and scared the bejeez. Okay, it's moving really quick. Bejeez bus out of me. Check it out. Would love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, I haven't seen it, man. Incantation. Have you guys seen Incantation? Is it good? I started watching the Netflix series last night about Pepsi and the whole scandal about them saying they will give someone a fighter jet if they get enough Pepsi points. That's a pretty interesting documentary. Big Tony Rocket says, thoughts on Teen Witch? Top that scene. I didn't watch Teen Witch. I'm sorry. I'd never watched Teen Witch. And I probably never will. I'm sorry, though. Observing the Apocalypse says, how could a real civil war in this country today go? It wouldn't. No one has the discipline to actually line up and infiltrate and fight each other on the battlefield. I mean, it would just be a lot of small riots and chaos and anarchy in some select cities. And then it would eventually fizzle out once people learn there was no financial gain in the end of it. It's like, oh, we're fighting? What for? Freedom? No. Do we get anything? Do we get money? No. Oh, I'm going to stay home. Like, it would never really happen. Now, if you're talking about us against the government, I hate to say it, I think we're going to lose. All they have to do is lace our drinking water with something and we're done for. Or just like, I don't know, shut the internet. If you shut the internet off for like 2 days, people would resort to cannibalism within 48 hours. I assure you. Like, you could have all the frozen pizza you wanted in your house and SpaghettiOs, but if we didn't have the internet for 2 days, I'm telling you, people would start eating people. I truly believe that. That's why I have no faith in humanity. But I'll make you guys a promise right now, and I will stand by this promise. I will never eat any of you. But if you find my corpse on the side of the road, I give you permission to eat me. Is it getting weird? Yes. Did I think I was going to say that today when I woke up? No. But I'm glad I did. The next one comes from Will H., who says, John, happy holidays, man. Well, happy holidays to you. Thoughts on the movie Bad Santa and also the sequel. Now, Bad Santa was a phenomenal time. The opening scene, he says, you're not going to shit right for a week. That is a great line. I really enjoyed the first Bad Santa. The wooden pickle? Oh, yes, please. The Bad Santa sequel to me felt like a Bad Santa sequel that was like 5 years too late. And it was it was one of those movies you could watch one time, but I never, ever will ever rewatch it again. I thought the sequel lacked the weird, subtle humor that made the original so hilarious. Yeah, the sequel also lacked like that vitality that the first movie had. It just didn't have the same like energy to it. The next one comes from Joseph Knowles. Clerks 3 hit hard in the feels, man. Yeah. Yeah, if you grew up watching Clerks or you're a big fan of the Clerks franchise, it definitely was a gut punch. And it went a few directions I was not expecting it to. And Kevin Smith got to make the movie he wanted to make, and I feel like he said something with that movie. Do I think it was the right tone to go to make it that depressing? I don't know. In a way, it does kind of make you think about your life and almost have an existential midlife crisis after you're done watching it. But it's also, I would say, that the detriment to Clerks 3, as much as I did enjoy it, because it's so depressing, it's one of those movies that I don't feel like I want to rewatch often. Like, I can watch the first Clerks, I can watch the second one, but when you go into the third one, you're like, ooh, do I want to be depressed? So I don't know. That's the one aspect of it I didn't love, but at the same time, I feel like a little bit of it was needed, but did we need that much of it? I don't know. Gary Brooks says, hey, John, what would you rate the Batman, Black Adam, Wakanda Forever, Doctor Strange, Love and Thunder? You should just go watch the reviews for all of those movies, man. I guess I technically didn't put ratings on some of those, so just to save you time, Batman was definitely a solid A for me. Black Adam was probably like a C, guilty pleasure movie. Wakanda Forever was probably like a C plus movie. Doctor Strange was probably a C movie, which felt really choppy, and it felt like they rushed that out for the sake of meeting some kind of deadline to continue on the phase 4 so they could get to the next phase to make more money. And then Love and Thunder was probably like a C minus, maybe. I would say like a C minus movie. Like, when it comes to the Thor Love and Thunder, I love Thor Ragnarok. I think that was the perfect blend from Taika Waititi. Like, okay, you push the limits of like comedy, but at the same time, like, you had just enough like seriousness here. Like, it was a nice balancing act. Thor Love and Thunder lost all that seriousness and just went stupid SNL comedy. And it's like they couldn't come up with good jokes, so they just said, oh, I know what kids like today. Screaming goats. That's crazy. They'll laugh at that 18 times throughout this miserable piece of shit. And so, yeah, I think it was trash. Now, do I think Taika Waititi should direct another Thor movie? Absolutely not. I think we're done there. And if you're going to go out with a bang, and if that's going to be the last Thor movie starring Chris Hemsworth, they better make it fucking Gladiator meets Thor. I want the most epic Thor movie that's serious, and you can have a little bit of levity. That's fine. I'm not saying it has to be like Kingdom of Heaven serious. I'm just saying the next one should be the most epic Thor movie ever made. Give us that. Give us something grand. And let's treat Thor serious once again, you know? Just one more time. Gorilla Beach Holland says, hey, John, is there any franchise you would like Peter Jackson to do a trilogy for to redeem himself from the awful Hobbit movies? I'm trying to think of like a fantasy series that would lend itself well to Peter Jackson. If anything, I think Peter Jackson, I don't know. Some directors scare me nowadays. It's like they all resorted to like weird, shitty reliance on like CG that looks bad. And for some reason, they're like more fascinated about the technology than they are the storytelling nowadays. Or at least that's the vibe I'm getting from some current directors. I think Peter Jackson, if he does anything else, he should maybe like an original fantasy series on like HBO Max or something. I don't know. That's what I'd like to see. I can't think of another film franchise I would like to see. Rabba Rock says, hey, John, did you ever get a chance to watch my indie film, Neon? It's on Amazon Prime Video and free for Tubi. It's about the dark side of the porn industry. Dude, I did not. Your synopsis is interesting. I will watch it. I want to watch it. And if you guys want to check it out, we'll give a shout out here to Rebel Rock. So go to Prime Video, it's free, or go to Tubi and check out the film Neon. There you are. Enjoy that. Sean Poyer, that's too many R's. Sean says, "Hey John, been watching since 2013. Big fan. Have you seen The Last Kingdom? An epic, underrated Viking show. I think you will really like it on Netflix. I have not. And the thing is, I am really a snob when it comes to series. There's a lot of there's some series I love, but there's a lot of other series that some people talk about and they say they like them, and then like you kind of watch the trailer for it and you're like, it looks okay, but I don't feel like it's gonna give me what I want. I guess I've been spoiled on series, like Stranger Things, Better Call Saul, House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones. Like, I need series that live up to these kinds of expectations. And if it's anything else or anything less than, I go to watch it and I'm like, well, this is okay. Like, it's okay. It's not bad, but am I going to dedicate 9 or 10 or 30 hours of my life to getting through multiple seasons of this show? And I get to the point where I'm like, no, I am not. So that's where I'm at on series. But you said it's a Viking series, and I got a weird soft spot for like epic Viking series. So maybe I'll check it out. I'll at least watch the trailer for it. The next one comes from Crunch Butt Steak, best name ever. John, stop teasing us and let's watch a Siberian film. You go watch that alone in your basement, okay? Brevins Flicks and Games says, with recent photos for Indy 5 published, I really hope it'll be good. Fingers crossed that it'll be better than 4, which was pretty bad. No. 4 wasn't bad. It was an abomination against humanity, and even mentioning its name should be punishable by death. I think Indy 5 will be good. I mean, it can't be worse, right? If it was worse, I don't know how you could do that. I don't think you could do it. I have faith. The director I have faith in. He's directed quality movies. He's directed Logan. He knows how to tell a story about a guy a little bit past his prime who's grizzled. He's a veteran, and he's going on with his life. Like Logan was that story, and I think if he brings just a sliver of that into Indy 5, it'll be a good movie. I'm hoping it's good. I'm looking forward to it. Movies for Life says, Yo Flick, do you plan on getting John Wick on 4K since you own the sequels? Do I own the sequels? Maybe I do. Also, just got Mondo's Nightcrawler Steelbook. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, I put Nightcrawler on 4K. That's the shit I want on 4K. That and like Point Break, the original, 1991. I don't know. Maybe I'll get John Wick on 4K. It's been on sale so many times. The weird thing about the John Wick movies are I enjoy the first one. It's by far the best. I never had the urge to revisit the sequels, but the first one I could watch. But for me, the first John Wick is like, if I owned the physical copy of it, I might not ever watch it. Like John Wick's one of those movies, if I see it on streaming, I'll stop and watch it. But it's one of those movies where I'm like, there's better action movies. There's better Keanu Reeves action movies. So then like, why do you choose John Wick? Like if I want a Keanu Reeves action movie, I'll watch Point Break, or I'll watch The Matrix, or I'll watch Speed. And I know people love John Wick. I like John Wick. I've never loved it. All right, the next one comes from Claudia Rojan. Holes is pretty underrated. Definitely my favorite Shia LaBeouf movie, and it has an insane Jon Voight performance, childhood favorite. I'm glad you brought up Jon Voight in the movie Holes, because I would like to stop and talk about how creepy Jon Voight is. I think he's the creepiest man alive. He's terrifying. And I think Jon Voight's a terrible actor. There, I said it. I think Jon Voight is a fucking atrocious, terrible actor. I know he's been in classic films like Deliverance, but there's something about Jon Voight. He's went insane, or he looks paranoid. Jon Voight in every movie, he looks paranoid. He's always like chewing gum, looking around all weird. Like I feel like he's done something in his life where he's done something terrible and he's paranoid about it. That's all I'm saying. Like his performance in the movie Holes, some of the shit he does and his overreaction to things, I don't know if he's trying to like that's his version of like being over the top and comedic and like a cartoon character, but him trying to do that looks so unnatural. It's like if you told a robot to do something comedic, that's what it would do. Is what Jon Voight does in the movie Holes. It's just outrageous. I'm glad I got to get that off my chest. I've been wanting to say that for the last 24 hours. Yeah. So anyway, Jon Voight, he's a terrible fucking actor. I'm outraged at it. He's terrible. Like, did you ever see him in like the National Treasure movies where the like his response is, yeah, we should do that. And it's just weird. It's just like, he doesn't even feel like he should be there. He doesn't know where he's at. Maybe he has some kind of weird form of dementia and I sound like an asshole right now, but either way, let's keep going. Claudia Rogajon says, Chronicle is the best found footage movie. You agree? Yeah, it was okay. I'd watch it once. I think it was sort of forgettable. The next one comes from 1901. God of War Ragnarok is the best movie of the past few years, which is sad. Kratos' muscle definition and his philosophy makes me want to go to the gym. Yeah, he does have amazing muscle definition. I do agree, man. I like his philosophy. I can agree with that. But I like the philosophy Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. And Tom Hardy's traps made me want to go to the gym and do shrugs. Jon Voight was great in Mission Impossible. Okay, that's the one role that works for him because he was supposed to be like this double-crossing double agent. So in a weird way, like that paranoia, beady-eyed look that he always gives when he gives a performance, it kind of worked. Maybe that's the point where right before he lost his sanity. I'm not sure. The next one comes from Night King of One. Or no, we already answered that. Carter Lovejoy says, thoughts on Bob Iger back as a CEO of Disney after Bob Chapek was fired. Is it Chapek? Chapek? Bob Chapek? Either way. Rich billionaire assholes who run corporate conglomerates. Yeah, we'll talk about that for a second. So clearly Disney was going in the wrong direction with their films, with their theme parks. Everything I've seen about Disney World has been atrocious. The lines are long. The prices are going up. The magic is fading away. And I'm hoping that someone said, you know what? This is going the wrong direction and fired his ass. Or at least the film version of Disney movies of late have been getting worse as they keep going on. And, you know, it felt like Disney was just crapping shit out. It felt like they were just having this weird form of diarrhea where they kept crapping out content into our eyeballs saying, hey, this is Disney. But eventually when you keep doing that, you start losing faith in Disney as a brand, you know, and they don't want that. And I think they saw the writing on the wall and they fired the guy in charge and they hired the other Bob back. So that's my assumption of it. I'm just hoping we get better stuff from Disney going forward. Maybe we will. Who knows? But thanks for the question, Carter. That Movie Geek says, hey, John, how are you? What are your thoughts on the aliens/UFOs? What is your favorite alien movie? Mine is the first Alien and Signs. Both really good ones. If you want me to give you like a guilty pleasure movie, I'm definitely going to lean towards something like Independence Day. The concept of Prometheus was really intriguing to me. The execution, not so much. But yeah, the second Aliens movie. I mean, hell, E.T.'s an alien movie, you know? I'm trying to think of like some other alien movies I enjoy. Why does Mars Attacks come to my mind? It shouldn't. But either way, yeah, those are a few good ones. What are my thoughts on aliens and UFOs? There's unidentified flying objects. They exist. The Air Force has spotted them flying around. They could not explain what they were. So they do exist. And do I believe in aliens? Do I believe there's another life form that could live millions of light years away? Technically speaking, thus making them aliens? Absolutely. The odds, statistically speaking, is there are other civilized life forms somewhere out there in the galaxy. Where at? I'm not quite sure. How far away are they? Not quite sure. But the only holdup is it's just distance. You know, you could know for a fact there was another planet Earth 2 million light years away, but the frustrating thing is we will never have the technology to get there, at least anytime soon. So that's, yeah, I believe there's aliens. Technically speaking, yes, I do. The next one comes from, and I'm one of them. The next one comes from Faisal H, who says, "Hey John, have you seen Bones and All? Bones and All. If not, it's in theaters and would love to hear thoughts on it." Oh, Bones and All. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about this film just the other day. I want to see it. I've not got around to checking it out yet. But yeah, it stars what's his face from Dune. Yes. I do want to see it. I just haven't yet. It was a weird last week for me, guys. I literally stayed in my house for 5 days straight. I didn't leave my house for 5 days. I don't know why. I was very content at home. Something about society was just like eating away at me, and I was like, I gotta stay inside. So yeah, I'll eventually see it. Josh Rivera, hey, how's it going, Josh? Hey, John, did you hear that Quentin Tarantino wrote a show? I listened to that same podcast that everyone's stealing the headlines from. Yes, I did. Which was on, what was it on? Two Bears. Quentin Tarantino did an interview, and I love me some Quentin Tarantino. He is such a blunt, honest dick sometimes, but I love it. Yeah, and just the other night, I was watching one of my, I think it's one of the most underrated movies of all time, but The Hateful Eight. And Hateful Eight to me is the perfect wintertime movie to watch because it takes place during a blizzard and they're all locked up in this cabin and everyone's giving these phenomenal performances. And it just, something about it makes me feel cozy, and it's like violent and subtle and comedic, and it has all these different tones and vibes that I love. So yeah, I did hear that he's gonna, that he did write a show, and I'm looking forward to whatever that show is. Just his name attached to it sold me already, so I did hear that. Max Nugenbauer says, I saw Black Panther 2 when it came out, and it was so freaking good, though not quite as good as the first one. Yeah, I'm not one of those people who put the first one on some kind of weird pedestal. I think it was a pretty standard superhero movie when you break down the plot. And the third act of it, I thought was really bad. I mean, visually speaking, it was really, really bad. With some good performances, the thing with Black Panther for me, I loved the version of Black Panther we got in Civil War. I thought that Black Panther was like badass and cool, and he was on top of his game, and I was like, wow, this is a threat. You don't mess with this guy. And then the Black Panther that we got in his own solo movie, it felt like he was less than. Like he wasn't really good at anything. And I get that they were trying to make him flawed and come into his own. But he almost came across like incompetent sometimes. I don't know why. Like the adaptation of him in Civil War was far superior to me for Black Panther. As far as the sequel goes, I watched it in theaters. I did a first reaction over on the Flickpick channel. I think it was sort of a mess of a movie. I liked the way some of it looked. I actually didn't mind the mantle of Black Panther being passed on. I thought they handled some things as well as they could. But I think the weak point, though, was they sort of all just get over T'Challa, his character. They're like, oh, he's gone. And then 3 minutes later, everyone just moves on with their life in the movie. I'm like, didn't you guys want to, grieve a little bit more and focus on that aspect of it, It just felt like they kind of skimmed over things. And then other subplots of Wakanda Forever, they hyper-focused on for way too long. You're like, wait, how long is this movie? 2 hours and 40 minutes? They easily could have wrapped out. They could have knocked off 25 minutes of this movie. I mean, whenever you focus on the subplot of vibranium for 2 hours of your movie, it kind of gets tedious after a while. You're like, it's just metal, just sell it or do something with it. Who cares? Why do these people in the ocean and these other people in Wakanda just get to keep it for themselves? Because they want to live in seclusion away from society. It's like, I don't know. Seems a little bit hypocritical to me in a way. Okay, the next one comes from Manny. Yo, John, is it hard being a YouTuber and dating? Do girls usually see your job as a red flag? Some have in the past, and sometimes when you're in the dating game and you do YouTube, it's almost an unfair advantage in a way. In a way, these people can seek you out and watch your videos before they ever meet you. So they have some kind of preconceived notion of that's how you always are. And I always told people in the past, I'm like, don't watch my videos until you meet me. Because in my videos, that's 199% of me being as energetic as I possibly can. In real life, that's like 5% me of my personality. So sometimes it's worked for it's always been a good talking point. Like it's a selling point sometimes. They're like, oh, that's interesting. But people who have like no sense of creativity will go, oh, that's crazy. That's a little weird. I don't like that. So I don't know. It's been beneficial and detrimental at the same time. I can say that. But the thing for me is, I think for me, if someone couldn't appreciate what I do, then they were never going to work, right? Like if I was going to meet someone who hated what I did, then I already know their personality type will never align with mine. So I guess that's a good way to weed out people early on. But yeah, it's I've had some people tell me in the past, like they watched my videos before they met me and they're like, I thought you were going to be an absolute douchebag. And you are, but you're more enjoyable than I thought. So that's always a compliment. That's always a compliment. So yeah, it's a take and give. Craig Thompson says, thoughts on Avatar being 3.5 hours long. Now, I just talked about Wakanda Forever being too long, but man, when you take me to Pandora and I can see that digital blue ocean with Jake Sully swimming through it with his beautiful fucking ponytail, oh God. Make Avatar 23 hours long. I don't care. I'll sit there and I'll look at it like the most vivid wallpaper I've ever seen on, like, the immersion level, the escapism. I need this movie right now. If this movie sucks, I'll say it sucks. And maybe it will. But the one thing I have faith in Avatar Way of the Water is it'll be nice to look at. It'll be visually pleasing to my eyeballs. So yes, I'm looking forward to it. What was the question? Oh, 3.5 hours long. The thing is, James Cameron, if it was anyone else directing it besides James Cameron, would I have as much faith as I do? Probably not. But James Cameron, I will give him the benefit of the doubt every time. Sean Poyer says, thoughts, watch the Last Kingdom trailer now. I will watch it tonight. That's my promise to you, Sean. And by the way, thanks to all 253 of you guys watching right now. Thanks. All right, let's keep going here. Rebel Rock says something. Okay. In my indie film Neon, we got porn star Randy James to make a cameo in it. She was really cool and very supportive of the film. Can't wait to hear her thoughts on it. Free on Tubi. Yes, another shout out to your movie, man. Yeah, watch his movie, everyone. It's called Neon. I'll check it out, man. I promise. But you sold me already. Big Tony Rocket says, we need Troy on 4K. We need a sack of wine on 4K right now. Bulgarious. Yeah, nothing better than looking at Brad Pitt's sprayed on tan on 4K. That is a great... Every epic needs to be on 4K. I do agree. I like Troy. I do. Joseph Knowles says, John Wick 4, I thought the trailer was bland. Yeah, I watched the trailer and I sort of forgot what happened. It just looked like more, let's fight with guns for 7 minutes. Oh, whoa, I flipped it around. Here's an idea. Step 10 feet back and then pull the trigger. You won't have to fight with your hands. I watched the trailer for John Wick 4. It just looked like a hodgepodge of all the other John Wick movies. And the thing that made John Wick good was the first movie, it was simple. It was a man getting revenge for his dog. I think we can all agree with that. But the other films try to open up the universe a little too much. And once they opened it up so big and introduced all these second-rate characters, I'm like, I don't need any of that shit. I don't want that. I just want to see you seek vengeance. Max Nugenbauer says, I enjoyed your recent Blu-ray collection video, But the part where you mentioned Batman Forever got cut out somehow, and I wish it was a little longer. I don't remember what you're talking about. Maybe I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I did have some cuts in there, but I didn't really cut much out. I will say that. So I'm sorry to disappoint you, Max. Rebel Rock says, what is your favorite 90s teen comedy? Mine is 10 Things I Hate About You and Can't Hardly Wait. I really enjoy Can't Hardly Wait. I would say 90s teen comedy. I mean, I have to give it to American Pie that came out in 99. I think that was the pinnacle movie that really pushed the limits of what a rated R teen comedy could do. And would movies like that ever be made again? No. That's why I almost treasure it more now than I ever did. And it still holds up to today. So I think that would be the one for me in the 90s. Also, have you seen the 90s alien horror film, The Faculty? Oh, yeah, I saw The Faculty in theaters, man. Really enjoyed it. That's another underrated movie with Elijah Wood. Really good movie. I really did like that. Yeah, that's a good movie. I love that one too. They don't make them like they used to. I agree with you. I do. Movies nowadays, just something about them. They just feel like they're trying to. Movies today have these checklists of things they have to include, but none of the things they have to include actually enhance the story or make the movie better. It's just to appease like 7 people on Twitter. So they okay, we got to include that, this, and this. And it enhanced nothing about our movie, but now everyone will be okay. Really, they're making vanilla pudding, right? Like, you don't love it. It's okay to eat. You don't hate it. But that's what cinema is becoming. It's becoming vanilla pudding. Like, you can't get mad at it, but you can't love it either. But it didn't offend anyone, so it's okay. Joseph Knoll says, have you seen Ben Stiller Tom Cruise impression? Yes, I have. That was actually originally at the MTV Movie Awards back in 2001, I think. Why do I remember that? But yes, I did. Sean Poyer says, thoughts on 1982 Creepshow? Romero and King are great. I don't think I've seen 1982 Creepshow, man. I'm sorry. Maybe I have. Edward Nieto or Nieto. Is it Nieto? Nieto? Edward Nieto. Thank you for the very generous super chat, Edward. And here we go. I drive trucks, break arms, and arm wrestle. It's what I love to do. It's what I do best. I hope you're doing well, man. I appreciate the time you take to answer the questions and upload as often as you do. Cheers, my friend. Well, thank you for that glorious over-the-top quote. And I wish I had a hat on right now so I could flip it around. Yeah, it's like a switch. When I flip it around, I become a machine. I become a truck. I love that line as well. Or the best line and the best motivational line I could ever give you guys is, it's not about being the best, it's about doing your best. And with all that said, everyone immediately pause this live stream and go watch the 1987 classic Over the Top. Okay. Thanks for that question, man. Thank you for the super chat. Very generous. Thank you. Night King 01 says, have you ever seen Speed 2 Cruise Control? Of course I have. It baffles me that this movie put Keanu Reeves in a movie male because he refused the part. They put Keanu Reeves in a movie male? Well, yeah, he probably read the script and said, no, thank you. I mean, the best thing about Speed 2 Cruise Control, other than when the credits start rolling and the amount of money they spent on the movie, like they actually took a cruise ship and crashed it into like this set of like 80 buildings, which cost like millions and millions of dollars. But the best thing about that shitty sequel is Willem Dafoe putting leeches on his body and just being creepy as shit. That's the best part of that movie. Sour Sweet Gone Girl says, watch Knives Out again in preparation for the sequel. I like seeing Chris Evans play a villain more than a hero. Yeah, that's how I feel about a lot of actors. Like Tom Cruise, I like to see him play a villain, like in Collateral. I will say I did see Knives Out Glass Onion like a week or two ago. And I enjoyed it. It's coming to Netflix. I would just say wait for Netflix to watch it. I think the first one's by far better. I think it had a better vibe and a better story and a better twist. Knives Out Glass Onion, for me, you could kind of guess the twist coming from like the first 20 minutes of the movie. Maybe it's just the typecasting of characters, but I was like, I know exactly where this is going. And also the characters in this one felt, how do I say? They felt very like stereotypical. Like they didn't feel like real people that would actually interact with each other. So either way, I did enjoy it. But the first one's by far the better one. Night King 01 says, Johnny Boy, have you ever seen the movie Bullet in the Head by John Woo? The shootouts in that movie are insane, not the Stallone one. I have seen the John Woo one. I think, gosh, oh my God, I can't remember. Like early on in my YouTube days, we sat down and watched it. And I think I was going on a John Woo binge back then. But yeah, I did watch it. I remember it being really awesome. I remember the shootouts, but I don't remember the storyline so much. I'll put that on the to-do list to go back and revisit. Lucas Bernoskowitz says, I finally watched Avatar 1 for the first time and really liked it. You once said that Sam Worthington was bad in the movie. Do you still stand by that? Absolutely, I stand by that. Sam Worthington in that movie, that was like his first major movie he's ever starred in. You have to understand that. And he has an Australian accent. And that, I think Avatar was the first time he ever tried to do an American accent. And he's not very good at it. But nevertheless, I liked seeing Sam Worthington in the movie Avatar. I'm glad when it no longer shows Sam Worthington, the actor, and it shows the Avatar version of Sam Worthington. For me, something about that's more digestible. I know that sounds weird. And the thing is, do you guys remember when the first Avatar came out and Sam Worthington, they're like, oh, he's the next big thing. And they try to make him the next big thing in Hollywood for like the next 5 years. He started in movies like Clash of the Titans and a whole bunch of other movies that were really bad. And then Hollywood slowly but surely realized, ooh, he's not a very good actor. We should stop doing this. And then they did. The next one comes from Gaming Junkie. Hey, John, what are your thoughts on Hardcore Henry? Hardcore Henry? Hang on. There's another movie I want to talk about. Hang on. Hardcore Henry. Oh, yeah, the GoPro movie. Yeah, this to me wasn't really a real movie. It was sort of... It could have been a 25-minute short film. I think the POV point of view kind of got tiresome after a while. It's like, if I'm going to watch POV violence and action, how about I just go play Call of Duty? Because that's what it felt like watching Hardcore Henry after 20 minutes. It felt like you're watching your friend play a video game. And maybe that's fun to people. I mean, maybe you like to watch Twitch for 7 hours a day. I don't know. But for me, I was like, I'd rather just be doing this. So I think it was innovative and cool. I would like to see the aspect of Hardcore Henry, like the POV violence put into another action movie as a segment that lasts for like 5 minutes and then cuts back to like the standard way of making a movie. But yeah, I think it was interesting. Have you ever watched Hardcore Henry more than once in your life? I'd be intrigued if you did. Bayou Manning says, just watch Noah. Can't wait for The Whale. Yeah, Noah was bad. The other religious weird adaptation, Mother, was pretty atrocious. Darren Aronofsky, I think he's a really talented guy, but when he started going into his biblical phase of filmmaking, he lost me a little bit. And yeah, like The Wrestler, phenomenal movie. The Whale, I'm really looking forward to. I have a press screening of that coming up in a week or two, so that's one of my most anticipated for the remainder of the year. And I think after I watch The Whale, I think I can do like a top 10 of the year, because I will have seen, I think, every movie I needed to see at that point. Claudia Rogajon says, who's a famous actor you don't understand how they got famous other than Jon Voight? Also, what's your favorite teen horror movie from the 90s? Did I already answer that? I said American Pie. Yeah, there's a lot of actors that I watch and I'm like, how did they get famous? You know, like, what did they do? Was it the right place, the right time? And it's a thing. Most actors nowadays that become famous and get the push sort of feel like generic guy. Like you you make generic guy a star, right? And then generic guy can be in like 47 movies where you can just replace generic guy with any generic actor. The thing was, back in the 80s and 90s, you could be a weird, quirky actor. And like that was your thing. That's why people wanted to cast you in certain roles. Like being generic was the worst thing you could ever do as an actor. But now it's like they want you to be as generic as possible to make you interchangeable with every single role that's out there. So like the really charismatic actors like Jeff Goldblum or Nicolas Cage or whatever, it's like that phase of actors is like fading away. So as far as answering your question, like someone that's an actor that got famous and you don't know how, I can only think of like social media celebrities. I'm trying to think of an actor. I don't know. That's a question for you guys and let me know. Who is an actor that is famous that you don't comprehend why they're famous or why they're put into movies? Let me know that question. Or let me know that answer. GZ Movie Channel says Airborne Rollerblade movie top 3 90s films. Oh man, Airborne is a great underrated movie. It's about rollerblading and a kid who moves from California to, I think, Cleveland, Ohio. It's a great movie. Always a nice guilty pleasure movie to go back to. And it stars Jack Black. But not like crazy kooky Jack Black. Like Jack Black in this movie plays like a real person. Joseph Noel says, can you do an impression of Batman driving a forklift, yelling something stupid and getting angry at a person in the way? Are you talking about the Christian Bale freakout video? Oh, that's it, man. We're never professionally working together again. You don't fucking walk through my lights. I don't know. Was he driving a forklift when I said all of that? That's up to your imagination. Easy, Tom Holland. No. I think Tom Holland has talent, man. That dude has some talent. He can do the moves. If for anything else, Tom Holland made a great Peter Parker, like a young version of Peter Parker. That's my opinion. I will stand by that. The background looks dope. Thanks, man. Thank you for that. Avery A says, John, is the Point Break remake that bad? I've just seen the original the first time and I'm itching for more. Yeah, it's that bad. There's nothing to grasp onto. Like, I love the original Point Break movie. I probably love it more than anyone alive. And I will honestly have a contest. If there's ever a way to prove it, I will join that contest and participate to prove my love for Point Break. But yeah, the remake of it is that bad. It's everything wrong with remakes. It's literally everything wrong with a remake. It's bland. They miscast everyone. The script is terrible. The action is unfathomably boring. The color grading is so off-putting. It's instantly forgettable. There's not a redeeming quality about that big pile of trash. So yeah, and if you want more thoughts on it, go watch my Point Break remake review. I don't understand why Hollywood is trying to make Harry Styles a movie star. I agree with you, because what they're doing is they're trying to capitalize on his fan base. But usually his fan base are like 99% of like teenage girls, and they're not going to go see some of the movies he's starring in. So like, you're not really getting much from that. And is he a great actor? Maybe he's okay, but yeah, they are pushing him, aren't they? Jai Courtney. I'm glad someone said that. Yes. Generic tall guy. Yeah, other than playing a tree, I don't know which performance Jai Courtney should be cast in. Like, he's never added anything to any performance he's ever been in. Name a great performance from Jai Courtney. Just give me one. I want to hear it. John, you know which movie I need to get on 4K is Waterworld. I hear you, Black Friday. Where is Waterworld on 4K for $10? I will go buy it right now. A new YouTube account says, what are your thoughts on vitamins/supplements? I occasionally take vitamins. I used to be a hardcore vitamin fanatic. I used to take like 8 supplements a day, vitamin C, multivitamins, and protein. And I will say, like, take vitamins, you know, occasionally because you don't quite get all of them. But most vitamins and supplements are just filler that you instantly urinate out, and you get like 2% of the intake that you should be getting from them. You usually want to get your vitamins and nutrition from food. But really, I think if you're eating healthy and getting enough protein, you'll be just fine. But if you want to take some extra supplements like zinc or vitamin C to keep your immune system strong and ready to go, that's the only real vitamins I think that are necessary. I mean, biotin can help things. But yeah, I really haven't taken vitamins in a while. I have a whole cabinet full of them. So I've really seen no difference, to be honest with you. Brett Alltop says, Johnny, always comforting face to see. Well, thank you for that. Does Little Monsters creep you out? Something about that movie scares me. Little Monsters is terrifying, but that's why I love it. It rides this weird line of creepiness, eeriness, child abduction, and abuse, but there's some like fun levity in monsters. But I'll tell you the creepiest thing about the movie Monsters, starring young Fred Savage, is what's his name? The main antagonist of the movie. What do they call him? Kid or whatever. He's like this creepy little monster who looks like a little boy, but not quite a little boy. That to me is terrifying and disgusting. Like, I can't eat when I look at that. Or what is it? Boy. Do they call him boy? Maybe they call him boy. His Captain Boomerang was decent. Yeah, okay. In all fairness, the best thing Jai Courtney has ever done was play Captain Boomerang. Could you imagine that? Like, the best thing Jai Courtney ever did in his life was played Captain Boomerang. But he did a damn good job, I will say. All right, the next one comes from Josh Coffey. Black Adam 2 is dead. Won't make $400 million. Damn. Yeah, that's what happens when you make a generic superhero movie starring The Rock that should have come out 10 years ago. What did they expect? Like, what did they think was going to happen? Like, okay, you have The Rock. You have hundreds of millions of dollars. You can do anything you want. Maybe write a better screenplay. Just putting it out there. Like, have an interesting antagonist for your film other than Hellboy showing up at the last 5 minutes of the movie, because there's a lot of things they could have done, a lot of missed opportunities. For me, Black Adam is nothing more than the equivalent of a guilty pleasure Netflix superhero movie. Like, that's what it feels like to me. And the other thing is I wanted to mention about Black Adam as I go on a tirade here. Isn't it bizarre that The Rock, the most popular guy on the planet Earth, with like hundreds of millions of followers across all social media aspects and platforms, still didn't have the fan base to come to the theater to support his movie to make enough money? Like, to me, that's scary. Like, if The Rock can't entice his followers to go see his movie, who can? That's why it's like, maybe we have superhero fatigue, or maybe these movies are just getting worse. I would say both. But the truth is, whenever there's a great movie, it typically will, by word of mouth, do well. Like, people will spread the message, and it will continue to go on at the box office and have a cult following. But yeah, when it's bad, it's the screenplay's fault. And the only people they can blame is themselves. I mean, no one was clamoring for a Black Adam movie. Like, the loudest demographic were, because like the hardcore fan base of Black Adam fans were saying, oh, we want to see a Black Adam movie. But outside of those like 2,000 people, no one really understood who Black Adam was. He was never a primary character in any comic book series. Like, you can pretend he was in some series like Black Adam, but he wasn't a household name. So it had a lot of things working against it. And I think at this point, The Rock is just like seen as The Rock. Like, just have him star in Kevin Hart movies. That's the movies that make money for him. Reb Rock says, how could I forget about American Pie? Nadia scene got me through puberty, me and you both. And you know the thing about American Pie? Doesn't everyone look so sweaty in that movie? Like, everyone is profusely sweating or looks greasy. But I like it. American Pie is absolutely the greatest of all time of the 90s teen comedies. Do you like the movie Airheads? I do like Airheads. I remember vividly watching it over and over again on HBO back in the mid-90s. and thinking how weird and bizarre it was. But yeah, I do like it. Horror culture says impression of Buffalo Bill shopping on Black Friday. It puts the Blu-rays in the basket. It puts the Blu-rays in the basket. It puts the fucking Blu-rays in the basket. And thank you for the $2.79. That's all. Claudia Rogajon says, I said favorite 90s teen horror movie. Read, John. I'm sorry, Claudio. I can't keep up with all the message. I will do my best. Favorite teen 90s horror movie. Okay, a subcategory of a subcategory that you want me to know the answer of off the top of my head. We'll go with Scream. Scream. Yeah, Scream 1996. That was a teen horror film and one of the best ones of the 90s. I'll go with that one. Dano says, thoughts on Handmaid's Tale. I really enjoyed the first, how many seasons are there? Whatever the last season was, it got to the point where it became exhausting and tedious. I loved the first few seasons. To me, that was a terrifying reality that I could almost see happening one day. But by the whatever season it got to, the character choices I wasn't buying into anymore. I was like, okay, you guys are just incompetent. I can no longer root for any of you. And so it got to that point where I was like, okay, I don't care anymore. I stopped caring. But yeah, I thought the first few seasons were pretty good. I think the show almost got frustrating to watch based on the character logic. Rebel Rock says, and by the way, guys, I'm going to answer a few more questions and wrap up this live stream, but I'm still 10 minutes behind in the questions, so I'm going to go through as many as I possibly can. So if you have any more questions, you have 5 more seconds to submit them and then stop. I'll give you 10 seconds, but here we go. Rebel Rock says, have you seen Saving Silverman or Sorority Boys? I have seen I saw Saving Silverman in theaters. I did enjoy it. Sort of a forgotten comedy movie. Both comedies that would never be made today, but so funny. Yeah, they want to kill his girlfriend or something, because they want more buddy time. That's almost like a synopsis I would come up with. Luis Javier Rubio says, what's up, Johnny Funkman? What did you eat for Thanksgiving and with who? I went to my lady friend's house. We had all the standard normal stuff, turkey, pumpkin pie. I will say I wish there was a few more desserts because one of my favorite desserts for Thanksgiving is Mississippi mud pie. And if you don't know what it is, immediately go buy it right now or go make it and don't say I never told you anything phenomenal. My dream in life is to one day make enough Mississippi mud pie, which is essentially Oreo crumbs and whipped cream and pudding, to make enough of it to fill up a swimming pool and swim in it and drown to death. That's how I want to go out. The next question comes from Obed Arzaga, who says, hey, John, I know you like Sicario, the movie. If you want to see the series, check out the 000, very similar vibes. Yeah, drug cartel and the CIA. Yeah, okay. 000. Where's that at? Where do you watch that at? I'll check it out, though. I actually bought Sicario tonight on 4K. Spoilers for the Flick Trip video. Josh Coffey says, John, Patreon podcast skipped 3 of my questions. Josh, how many questions did you ask? Because some people ask a lot of questions, and I try to pick the best of the best questions. And maybe you may have submitted questions that we've answered 87 times. If I missed 3 of your questions, I will go back and private message you on Patreon to answer those questions. But we answered 75 questions. So sorry if we missed 3 of them. Did I answer some of your questions? I'm pretty sure I did. Or if you have one of your questions right now, ask it in the normal chat right over here. And I'll get to it, man. And by the way, guys, if you guys missed the Patreon podcast or YouTube member podcast, which is exclusively for you guys, we have an audio and video version. It's live right now. It's an hour long. And I talk about my new TV being broken. So go check out that podcast if you missed it. Or if you want to. I love you too, Josh. Rubber Rock says, I introduced my girlfriend to the horror comedy The Frighteners. I forgot how much I love that movie. So underrated. Plus, the Dammers character is so funny. Have you seen that movie? Yeah, man. I love Frighteners. And the other thing in that movie, I love... doesn't Arlie Ermy star in there as like the drill instructor? Yeah, I liked a lot of the characters in there. And the Grim Reaper character in that film always freaked me out. Totally freaked me out. But truly underrated movie. Peter Jackson movie. There you go. Kinji says, I saw The Recruit. Oh, I'm sorry. I completely misread that. I saw the recent Blu-ray collection and I noticed you don't own the Bourne trilogy. You don't like the Bourne movies? It's one of my favorites. Also, are you watching the World Cup? No, I'm not watching the World Cup. As far as the Bourne movies go, I really like the first one. Then you have the sequels directed by Paul Greengrass. Maybe he didn't direct the second one. Either way, the sequels to me, they feel so discombobulating to me. Like, I'm not really latching on to anything. And I don't like the Paul Greengrass ones because Paul Greengrass, he just like likes to shake the camera to the point where it's nauseating, and it doesn't feel like a real movie. It feels like a child holding a camera for the first time, filming Matt Damon. That's what those films feel like to me. I just never found them all that rewatchable. Like the first movie I liked, but when it comes to that genre of like badass, kick-ass spies, I just think there's other films I always gravitate towards. All right, the next one comes from Kinji, who says, oh, no, I already answered that. Rebel Rock says, another 90s classic is Three Ninjas. Dude, I used to rent Three Ninjas on a weekly basis from our local video store. Tum Tum. I showed my girlfriend and she didn't like it. I showed her Airborne and Brink and she liked those. Thank God. Well, she probably liked Airborne because the one dude's he's like a pretty boy, has like a nice suave haircut. You know, I get why she probably liked it. Or at least that's why I liked it. But no, the Three Ninjas is definitely something that only you have to introduce that to like small children, like small boys when they're like 5 years old. Like, that's the demographic of that movie. And now 35-year-old men such as myself who latch on to it. Claudia Rogajan says, Black Adam could have been a pilot of a TV show. It definitely felt like it could have been a Netflix movie of the week, in a way, yeah. Sour Sweet Gone Girl says, Cobra Kai should have ended at Season 5, still hyped for Season 6, and the World Tournament, though. Yeah. The thing is, I think they sort of left enough room or enough meat on the bone to go into Season 6 and wrap up a few things with some of the characters in Season 5. But I think at this point in the series, we're done. How many karate tournaments can you have? How many old men can you have brainwashing these groups of teenagers to fight each other, to accreditate themselves? I think it's gotten to the point where we've stretched it as thin as it can get. And I think going off into other continents for the World Tournament plot, I think that's the last and best thing they can do for this series. That's what I'm looking forward to. So, yeah, I agree. Like, Season 5 was kind of, like, hard to get through at times. Brian O'Neill Singleton says, thoughts on The Meg and its sequel. Well, the thing about The Meg was it's actually based on a novel, and the novel itself is really cool. Like, it could be like a $300 million spy espionage movie with megalodon sharks in it, with like huge underwater, what are they called? Like under the water, like fortresses. Like the villain of the movie feels like a James Bond villain, or the villain of the novel feels like that. And when I was reading the novel years ago in like 2007, maybe, I was like envisioning this movie. And I was like, this could be the most epic movie ever made. And then you see the movie, and what they did is they sort of made it like a shitty comedy movie with Jason Statham and sharks. And it was really underwhelming. So as far as the sequel goes, will I watch it? Yeah. Does it seem like it should be like on Netflix? Maybe. I'm surprised they're actually making a sequel to The Meg, which is surprising. But I guess people like sharks and Jason Statham. Taylor Goodwin says, I was rewatching some of The Walking Dead and forgot how badass Rick was in season 5 and 6. I think 6 was the best season. I wouldn't go that far. I would still say season 1 is the best season by far because it felt like the characters were competent and it was real and there was like an edginess to it and there was like something on the line, and then it turned into like a soap opera a little bit too much in later seasons. And I haven't watched the final season. Like I couldn't keep up with how many seasons there were and spin-off shows. And then they had the prequel season set of episodes that came out. And like, I got to the point where I was like, I just don't have enough time to keep up with this anymore. But at one point, when I get bored enough, I will finish the show. Taylor Goodwin says, yeah, I think my focus point in The Walking Dead is when they introduced what's his name with the tiger. I was like, I'm done here. And also when they killed Glenn. Yeah, like you killed Glenn. You got to give us a little something to latch on to anymore. But Taylor Goodwin says then they kill Glenn at the end of 6 and then bring back a guy with a tiger. That's where I lost it a little more. You literally echoed my own thoughts. I agree, man. Thomas Jones says, loved the channel. Top 3 TV characters. Well, thanks, Thomas. Top 3 TV characters, I would probably go with... That's a great question, man. Are we going like live action TV shows? That's too... so, I mean, Heisenberg, Better Call Saul. I'm just going to name everything from the Breaking Bad universe. Let's switch it up here. Who's another TV character I really enjoy? And I'll go with Eddie from Stranger Things. How's that? How's that for TV characters? I'm trying to think back to like if you want to go back to like 1990s sitcoms, I always enjoyed like Al Bundy from Married with Children. I always like related to his character. He just reminded me of like my family a little bit. I guess that was a weird one to throw in there. We'll go with that. Oh, Tyrion Lannister. Yes, gosh. Yes. Tyrion Lannister. Peter Dinklage. One of the best characters of all time. You know, like, you always rooted for him, no matter what. I agree. Tyrion Lannister might overall be my favorite TV character of all time. I truly mean that. If you had a Tyrion Lannister episode in Game of Thrones, you knew it was going to be a good episode. Opie Winston, yeah. How about Kelly from Saved by the Bell? Wogue Review says, have you ever been to New York? If so, what are your thoughts? I've never been. I've heard good things about it, but also at the same time, I don't feel like New York would be a city that lends itself well to what I like. Like, don't get me wrong. I'd like to go see the sights just once, check out the Statue of Liberty, go to a Broadway play or something. But other than that, it just feels like a big concrete jungle that I just assume it smells like urine, and most people say it does smell like urine on a hot summer day. I don't like big cities like that. Like, I like to drive past them and look at the skyline, but I don't want to go in them. I like movies that take place in cities, but I don't want to go in them. Like, I'm too smart to go that way. It's like you see sharks swimming around in circles in the ocean. And like, I have the mentality of like, why would I go swimming over there? I just won't. Tony Soprano, another great TV character. And if you're going to talk about Tony Soprano, I'm going to talk about Paulie, who is a supporting character. I love characters like Paulie. Just brutally honest characters that have like this levity to them. Kinji says, favorite sports comedy. Have you seen Little Giants? Love me some Little Giants. And that was an out of print DVD for a while, and it still might be, where it was going for like hundreds of dollars. But yeah, I always liked Little Giants. It's like the Sandlot of football. Yeah, it's kind of like the Sandlot of, and that's the thing about 90s movies. Do you remember the fad of like making 90s kids sports movies where they came out with like a new one every week? I sort of miss that time in life. We don't get things like that. What do kids get nowadays? TikTok videos? My favorite sports comedy, if I have to pick like a child, like probably The Sandlot. Yeah, probably Sandlot. And then Mighty Ducks. Wog Review says, what would your job be if you weren't a YouTuber? You know, I've given that a lot of thought over the years. I'm not quite sure. I definitely know I would have to move around occasionally and not sit in one place. I've looked into jobs in marketing firms and advertising companies, and I definitely I feel like I could do that. The question is, would I want to do it every day? Because for what I do is no one really gets to tell me what to do. And I fail at my own rate that I want to fail at, you know? So like, I like the ability to wake up and like, oh, I want to do this or this. But if you work somewhere, you have to get in your car and drive there every day, and you're at the mercy of whoever is in charge of you. Something about that sounds terrifying to me. It sounds like, I don't know. It's like waking up and going to prison every day and getting paid for it. That's always what jobs have felt like to me. So I probably, if I wasn't doing YouTube, I'd probably work at some company in the marketing division. Something similar to that. That's what I would like to do. Something creative. Something creative. Night King 01 says, Jason Statham needs to be on better movies. Remember when he was in actual good movies like Snatch and Lock, Stock, and Smoking Barrels? Yeah, Jason Statham. He sort of feels like a meme of himself nowadays. Fidel Reyes. By the way, guys, I'm going to wrap this up in about 20 seconds, so here we go. Fidel Reyes says, hey, John, have you watched Succession? I've seen a few episodes. I just haven't completely got into it yet. As someone who is picky with a series, I really enjoy it. Caught up recently, and it's basically like Mad Men had a baby with a-hole execs from American Psycho. Yes, and it has Macaulay Culkin's little brother in it. I watched a few episodes. I did enjoy it. One day I will get back to it. Brian Neil Singleton says, America Ninja Remake. They're remaking everything. They're making an American Ninja remake? What? I did not hear about that. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live show there. Thank you guys for hanging out. I'm going to go eat my frozen pizza now. As always, thanks for the questions. Thanks for looking at my stupid face for a couple hours. As always, guys, stay tuned until tomorrow. Yeah, we'll have a brand new Black Friday video tomorrow. So look out for that. Stay safe. Have a good night. Take care. Bye-bye.